Yo, what's up? This is Sleet. Welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about England and just what they are in terms of their team and why I think with Southgate as the manager that England won't win any major trophies despite their team being one of the best in the world, one of the best nation squads in the world. I watched the England versus Iceland game earlier, and it was an incredibly boring game. Sterling scored the winning penalty. Iceland missed a penalty near the end. You'll probably be seeing this tomorrow because I already recorded a video for today, but I did want to talk about this while it's still kind of like fresh in my memory. And I just want to like bring up why his squad selection is like very strange and why he never seems to start his strongest team. Like, I don't get why he's doing that. And I just want to go into what I think I'd do if I was the England manager. I'll preface by saying that, like, I watch a lot of England games for whatever reason. I think it's because I'm a City fan, and I've been a City fan for so long. As someone from the US, there's a rivalry with England. And then as somebody whose parents are both Irish, there's another rivalry with England. And, like, I don't want to see them do well, really. Like, they are rivals. But I often find myself watching them because of like Sterling or Foden or Walker and like players like that, or in the past like watching Joe Hart. And like, you do hope that these players do well when they're playing for England because it bodes well for your club team as well. But like, I'm consistently getting like annoyed with what they choose to do, who the English FA chooses as the manager, and what these managers pick as their starting 11, because it bothers me. It makes like the Premier League seem like a weaker league because England does poorly at these tournaments consistently. Like, when you see Germany doing well and like half that team is a Bayern team, you know that Bayern are a great team. But when you see this England team playing and you're like, there's players from Liverpool, there's players from City, there's players from Arsenal or Chelsea or wherever, and they're performing so poorly all as like a whole, I feel like that to other countries looks like weaker. It looks like there's something wrong with them, and like maybe these players are overhyped. They're like not worth what people pay for them. This like English premium isn't worth it because the players are even worse than like what people value them at. And just going off like today, if you're gonna play certain players who are good players, you need to surround them with other good players that fit the system that they're used to playing. For example, if you're going to put Walker at right back, you shouldn't have Ward-Prowse as the midfielder that he's passing into. Walker is used to being like very, very defensive with a good attacking player in front of him. Ward-Prowse shouldn't even be in this England squad, let alone should he be starting over Grealish, who is like the top chance creator I think he's like one of the top chance creators in all of Europe. And then he's also like the most fouled player. Like, he makes things happen. And in a team better than Villa, where the focus is spread to like more people because there's other quality in the team, Grealish could probably cause a lot of havoc. I don't get why Grealish wasn't playing alongside somebody like Foden. And it's no use playing Eric Dyer at center back next to Joe Gomez, because Dyer at Spurs plays a way different system to Gomez does for Liverpool. Gomez is used to playing possession style, fast-paced, like pressuring, high line up the field. He's fast, he can get back and cover. Dyer is not used to that. Dyer is used to playing in a low block Mourinho side that's more of a counter-attacking team. And like, while Dyer does have some qualities, again, there's better players than him. For example, Rice in front of him would probably be a better center back than him. But for whatever reason, Southgate just continually makes these like weird decisions. I think Saka was picked, I don't know for sure, but Saka is a better left back. And he's like been training his whole life as a winger. He's definitely a better left back than Trippier was today. Trippier was like all over the place. And on the subject of Trippier, that's another thing that bothered me. If Trippier, or however you say his name, is taking all of the set pieces, why is Ward-Prowse even in the team? Ward-Prowse's like only strength really is like free kicks and corners, and he wasn't even like put on those. And in his like general game, he's not very good, at least if you want to be a possession or like attacking team. If England are like gonna play like a top team, you can't have players that are used to playing in like mid-table clubs necessarily, unless the style of that team matches. Like, for example, Grealish is used to being an attacking outlet, creating chances. Ward-Prowse, not as much. He's more like of a person that sits back. Even though he is known for being a creative player, he does kind of sit back for Southampton. So anyways, I just want to go through what I would do if I was the England manager, like how I'd set up most likely, and why I think it's the best thing for England to do if they want to really challenge for things in the future. So I'm just going to start off with the formation. A 4-3-3 is like what City play, it's what Liverpool play, and these are the two best teams in this country, and these are the kind of the players you're choosing from. All of the players that are like really involved with Liverpool should be starting for England. Same with City. If you're an English player, part of these two great teams, you should probably be starting. Then you start to like sprinkle in the players you need from like Spurs or Chelsea or United or Arsenal or teams like that. So in this 4-3-3, England have been used to playing this like kind of three at the back formation, and that works because that could work really well with Trent and I think Saka as like the wing backs. But in a back four, I think you could also play those two depending on who your choice of a holding midfielder is. And I think it would work out really well if they started to play this formation, because in the future, these players could really grow and like learn to play alongside one another. So goalkeeping wise, Pickford just isn't good enough. He shouldn't be playing. Pope is a much better goalkeeper. I know Pickford kind of has like a good long kick, but he's just not good enough, I think, at least with like his handling, to be the starting goalkeeper if England are going to win things. Is Pope, like I said, and I think there's probably other goalkeepers in England that I'm just not thinking of that are probably all better than Pickford. Like Heaton is another one just off the top of my head. Like I said, Trent, with all of the assists that he gets and all of the quality that Trent has, he should be the starting right back, I think. If you're going to play against maybe like a Brazil or something where they have like a Neymar, then Walker should be playing. And I'm saying this as a City fan. Walker is much better defensively, or like Wan-Bissaka is much better defensively than Trent. But when you're just playing like a team like Iceland, who are known to sit back, and you need to create things, Trent should have been starting today. I don't know why he wasn't. So Trent should be the starting right back. And for the future as well, because Walker's getting older, Trent should be the starting right back. Center backs is tricky, and this might be the most like controversial thing that I say in this video. Joe Gomez, I think, should be the starting like center back, maybe the first choice center back. And then a partner for him is, like I said, it's like difficult to choose. I think personally, as a City fan, I've seen Stones be so good at times, and I'm tempted to say Stones. I don't think there's much better players at him than like in that position anyways, and being like composed when he's like at the top of his game. It's just that he's like too often inconsistent and he lacks confidence. So maybe for the future, somebody like Tomori would fit better. But people like Maguire shouldn't be starting for England. Neither should Dyer. If you're going to be playing a possession-based style or a pressure-based style, you can't have slow center backs like that. And I think Stones or Tomori would be a good complements to Joe Gomez, especially with the DM option that I'm going to talk about. Left back, like I said, Saka is another great choice. He reminds me of Trent, and with so many good wingers for England, I don't think Saka will break into that attacking side, but he's shown his intelligence. I think he's younger than me, actually, which is like crazy to think. But Saka has shown time and time again for Arsenal, whenever he's played, he's smart enough to defend and know positionally where he should be. And I think that he's more than capable of playing in that position for England. And he's also, attacking wise, like he's used to being a winger. He's very skillful. He gets a lot of assists. I think he should play there, and in the future he'll just keep getting better than he is right now. Speaking of Arsenal, I think Ainsley Maitland-Niles is like another player that could be in and around the England team. I think he could fill in well at the left back position or the right back position, but I don't think he's good enough to start right now. And even if he does improve in the future, I think he'll probably be like overshadowed at fullback by players like Wan-Bissaka or Trent. Now the DM is like really important for the way I'm setting this team up, because I think it could help them convert, if you're going to have such attacking fullbacks, to like kind of having a 3 center back system, depending on who that DM is. And with recent success, I think Jordan Henderson is like the obvious choice. He should be the holding DM for England, and I think he's earned that spot. He's just been like incredible this past season, and he's been really good for Liverpool over the past couple of years. I don't think he holds a candle to De Bruyne in like the PFA debate, but that's whatever. I think Jordan Henderson is good enough to definitely be that player for England. Given the like youthful approach that I'm going with, and the like ability to switch from that 4-3-3 to having this kind of like wing back situation where you have 3 center backs and like Trent and Saka can both go more forward, I think Rice is like the option for the future. And he was really good today against Iceland, and I think he's been improving steadily under West Ham. He's good, like very good in both positions. He's good as a DM. He's like physical and strong. He's like very composed on the ball, and he can play center back as well, which is why I think that would work so well. Because if Stones maybe has a mistake in him, perhaps, having 3 center backs helps that out. And if you had Rice dropping in to the like back line alongside Stones and Gomez, who are both fairly quick, and Rice himself is pretty fast, I think that would just be a really good system, and it would allow Saka to get forward, it would allow Trent to get forward. And when that wasn't the case, when they didn't have the ball, he can drop into that DM space and he can back up the midfielders, and I think he's very, very good in that position as well. Midfield wise, I'm just going to completely like say this now, I don't think Mount is good enough to play this style, at least from what I've seen so far. I think he's a decent player, I think he works really hard and he runs really hard, and he'll be in and around the team, he'll be like a sub probably, but I wouldn't have him starting. I know he wasn't the best today on his England debut, but Foden is like the future. I think he's got the highest ceiling of any of these England midfielders, and he should be playing there. And he works really hard going both forward and going back, and technically he's really strong. I think he should be the starting player. Alongside him, in front of either Henderson or in front of Rice, like I said, I think that it should be Grealish. As of right now, Maddison has shown glimpses as well of like really good quality, but I think Grealish has shown so far that he is like the highest potential. And forget like the antics off the field, Grealish just does have quality, and if you're one of the better players and you fit the style, then you should be playing. I think that would be a really strong team, because as a defender you can't really just focus on one player in that midfield, let alone the attack, which I'm going to get to, but in that midfield you can't just focus on one person. And there's a lot of danger men who can create chances, which allows everybody to have more time and more space. And I think just possession-wise, it would have been much cleaner than what England were today. It would be less passing around the back and more integration with the midfield when you play this style. Going forward, the front line is another controversial thing. I'm going to say this now. Harry Kane is a great finisher. He's a great striker. I think his passing is like severely underrated. I think he's really good at switching the play. He's really good at dropping back. He's really strong. And if he gets any kind of chance on either foot, he'll normally put it in the back of the net, which is something you can't say for a lot of players. For me, he'd always be in the England squad. You could always have Kane on the bench to maybe grab a goal. But I cannot see why, stylistically, he's playing at all for England. On the wing, you've clearly got Sterling should be the left winger, Sancho should be the right winger. I think they can both switch. They both like to move into the middle. They both like to go wide when like at different points in the game. And Foden, who would probably be a starter for England in the future, has a good connection with both of those players. So I think both of those wingers will start, and they're two of the best wingers in the world as of right now. So I think they're like kind of dead starters for me. And that's why Kane doesn't make much sense. Neither Sterling or Sancho like to just like hoof the ball in, like cross it in the air. They like to like beat men. They like to cut it back. They like to put little like dinks in behind to people. And for me, it would really be a benefit to them if they had a striker who was more of either one of two things. I think they could do with somebody like Greenwood, who I think is the person I would go for. I think Greenwood is like absolutely amazing with both feet, and he's a great finisher. So I'd probably go with him in the future at least. And I think he has the highest potential of any English striker as of right now. And even today when he came on, he was creating chances, and he had a good link up with Sterling, which eventually saw them win a penalty. It was like a good pass from him that allowed Sterling to get into the box, which won them the corner, I think, that led to the penalty. In the past, I also talked about maybe Rashford when I would watch England. Rashford could play through the middle as well, and Rashford likes to play off the left, which really would work well with Sterling, because Sterling likes to play predominantly on the left, but he also likes to move into the middle and like go more central. And both of them could interchange like that. And with Sancho also interchanging and creating chances, they just do much better to have somebody with a lot more pace and a lot more technicality to them than somebody like Harry Kane. For me, even like Jamie Vardy would probably attract way more attention. I know he like retired from international play, but I think that was just because he didn't like Southgate and what the English FA were doing. I know there's probably a reason that Southgate's in the job. There's probably a reason that the FA think that they know all these different things about the sport and they decide to go with the things they do. But just from an outsider's perspective, I just don't think what they're doing is going to work out well for them in the future. I think they continue to show glimpses of such quality because the players are so good. You see them go like undefeated when they're qualifying for the World Cup or for the Euros because the players themselves are very decent. But without a manager to like implement a style and pick the best starting 11 for that team, I don't think that they're going to win much in the future, if anything. Anyways, that's it for today. I just had a lot of thoughts after watching England and after watching them for so long, and I think they have such a good crop of young players that, like, I'd hate for that team to just not be seen. Like, I'd love to watch all those players play together, and, like, I always think about it when I'm watching club teams, like, how these players might work together, and I feel like I've just not been shown it because of poor choices from Southgate and, like, the English management. Anyways, if you watched all the way through, I really appreciate it. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, all those good things. All of that means a lot. I'm a small channel. I really appreciate any, like, conversations in the comments or any kind of support from anybody. This has been Sleet. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.